Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Tuesday Night Knit Chat. Again, we're going to start off and just let us know that you can see us and hear us. We're coming to you from Southwestern Ontario, Canada. Might as well do the weather report.
It's a little cooler today.
It was a gorgeous day today, absolutely gorgeous. It was a beautiful day to sit outside and knit. It was sunny. There was very little humidity, unlike yesterday, which rained all day. No, it didn't. I guess it didn't. I guess it rained all day Sunday. And then yesterday was just kind of cloudy. But anyway, today was a perfect sit outside, knit. We should have went down under the bridge. It would have been a perfect day for that today. I don't know what Kelly was doing.
My mic wasn't on the whole time. I just realized that. Because I thought, why is it coming through my computer and not into my, why is it not in my ear? So I don't even know if anybody could hear me when I said hello, but hello, I'm here now.
Well, I heard you. If I heard you, would they hear you?
I don't know. I don't know how you could hear me. That's the strangest thing. My mic was not plugged in. So
anyway, we're good. Now. We're ready. We were actually here. We were actually here, like sitting ready to go 5 minutes before. And it's like, Kelly, is everything ready? Oh yeah, everything's ready.
Well, except my head, my ears. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, we're here and we're ready.
We are.
And welcome. We want to welcome everybody. If it's your first time joining us, thanks for stopping by. This is our Tuesday night informal get together, just as if you were going to the knitting shop or the knitting shop. Well, the knitting shop, you could go to the knitting shop, but to the coffee shop with your friends, and you've got your knitting along and everybody just, chatting amongst each other. And all the regulars know if you've got a question, just pop it in the comments. Oftentimes somebody will get to you before we even see it and we'll have an answer to your question, which is good for us because we don't always know all the answers. In fact, most of the times we don't, but somebody will know the answer or somebody will look it up for us. So if you do have any questions, just pop them in there. So, okay. So I was just saying to Kelly, it just seems like every time we get up on Tuesday morning, it seems like, how did a whole week go by already?
And then I get panicked that I don't have enough done. And it truly seems like I don't know what I did. Well, I didn't knit a lot this week. We were just talking about, this was a long weekend in Canada for us. And I had my family over for dinner on Sunday. So I spent the day in the kitchen cooking, and we've been doing a lot of yard work. We took down a back fence. We are putting a new fence in. I'm still working on the garden area to get my pond up and going. So it's been a really busy week. So I know where the time went, but hey, you didn't come here to see nothing. So you have to see that we did something. But I'm sure.
And we didn't even shop this week. At least I didn't.
I didn't. I shopped, but I didn't shop for yarn.
But not for yarn.
No, not this
and
week.
I shopped for coffee. Anyway.
I shopped for bras and underwear. Knix was,
there you go.
I had a coupon at Knix and I needed some things. So
anyway, I need to do that. So one of these days. Anyway, we are actually a knitting podcast. So I know we talk about the weather. We usually just want to let you know because we know in here people are coming to us from all over. So for some people, like the people that are coming to us from the Southern Hemisphere, you're in your winter right now. And we're kind of, honestly, yesterday almost felt like late fall. It was cool. It was like it was
plaid shirt,
definitely sweater weather.
Plaid shirt and jeans weather yesterday.
That's
yes,
right.
It was.
It definitely was
all day and so windy.
Yep. So yeah, so we know we all have different weather. We all might be knitting on different things, but we're here all together to spend some time talking about what we're up to. So we have a little bit of admin to go through first.
I just wanted to point out, I see Hafsa's in here, and her daughter saw the Deshane that I was wearing one evening and liked it so much that now Hafsa is knitting one for her. That's fun. It's that's generally where I get my knitting inspiration from. It's one thing to see it on Ravelry or a new pattern release, but when you actually see the sweater out in the wild, right? Or you see the garment out in the wild and you think, wow, that's something that I could really see getting some good use out of, that I would wear, that would, fit into who I feel I am as a person. And or even if you go to your knitting shop, it may be a pattern that wasn't even on your radar.
Yeah.
And then you see it and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Or a friend knits something that you like, okay, now I have to have it too. And
Yeah.
unfortunately for Noelle and I, we get the,
We
oh, I
like a
need
lot
that
of the
too.
same things.
We do like a lot of the same things. And we try to knit different things so that we have lots of options to show you here. But we like what we like, friends. And we
But
end
you
up
know
knitting a
what
lot of the
is
same
really,
things.
I find really fascinating with knitting patterns is like you can look at a pattern, and if you go in, and especially a popular pattern, and you look at it on Ravelry, the age groups that are knitting that pattern are all over the place. Like it's not just
Right?
like specifically
Right.
like, you know, like a 20-year-old is wearing that pattern or a 50-year-old. Like it's like, I know there's not that much age difference between myself and my daughter, but a lot of the sweaters I like, she likes. She might like a
Yes.
different color, or I mean, the thing is you can modify it to fit the way you want to fit, right? Because even that, when I show you tonight that I finished my holes, like there's no way I'm going to wear it the way some of those young kids wear it, but it's still like a gorgeous sweater to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like at any age to wear it. So, and you can
Yes.
just, I guess it's the styling that takes it to kind of like your
Yes.
age group, right?
Yeah.
So
And
anyway, I think
you can
that's really
adapt
neat.
everything to fit. That's what, that's kind of, I guess, where I was headed. You can adapt something to fit your personal style.
Yeah.
And I'm still not entirely sure what my personal style is. It still changes from day to day. Some days I feel like I look like an overgrown toddler in some of the, like the romper style dresses or pantsuits that I wear. And then other days I think, oh, well, that looks very chic. But most days, no, I won't say it's very chic, but so, like that sweater, I've seen that whole sweater dressed up where it can look very chic.
That's
So
right.
yes, you can take things and wear them different ways.
Yeah. And I also think like when we look back, like if I think, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but if I look at when I looked at my mom at my age now, and I think I remember like pictures of my mom when I got married and she was only 48. And I'm sorry, she looked old. Like, you know,
Yes.
with the
Yes.
permed hair. And but I think that
Yes.
was a part of that generation. And hopefully we're getting away from that. I'm never gonna have that permed hair.
No.
Never gonna have
Sarah
that permed hair.
Sarah just pointed out that granny toddler is a style.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it coastal grandma?
Coastal grandma. Yes. Yes. Well,
But anyway,
I just saw, oh, sorry. Last comment
no,
on
sorry.
on the
I
fashion.
mean, if anybody likes that hairstyle with the perm style, that's fine for you. Because I have such a memory of my mom having that hairstyle, and I thought it made her look older beyond her years. And
Yes.
actually, as she got older and she didn't do the perm anymore and she just had her hair straight, she actually looked younger.
Yes.
So,
but I think times have changed, times have evolved, and I think we are not so locked into fashion age windows the way we
right.
used to be, because you're right. Like you would see a particular age group dressed a certain way, and then it would progress to the next age group. That's where the word mom jeans came from, when they went from going below your belly button to above your belly button. And I think that we don't have those constraints anymore. And the part I was getting to, which tuned into that, is I saw a little story on Instagram yesterday, and it is, I'm trying to think, I don't really know what her position is, but she dresses people or coaches people on how to be
Okay.
more comfortable with their clothing. And there was a lady that came out of the dressing room and she had taken in a pair of jeans that she really liked, but they were distressed. And I don't mean like they weren't cut to shreds. They were just, like lighter patches in certain places. And she came out and she said, I really like the jeans, but I'm 60. Can I wear distressed jeans? And the lady who was dressing her said, absolutely, you can wear distressed jeans. You can wear anything you like. And I think that is that we are moving forward, and that we don't feel like, okay, we have to be at a certain age. And the hair was very significant too, because I remember thinking that ladies over 45 to 50 didn't have long hair. Like that
Yeah.
was a thing that you just didn't do. You started, as you aged, you cut the hair shorter and shorter to end up in a short style. And now I see all sorts of ladies that are my age and older, and they have long hair, and it's beautiful. And I guess maybe the moral of this story is just do you.
Yeah.
Do what
Do
makes
what
you
you want.
happy.
If that's right. Exactly. Mary says she hates looking at photos of herself with a perm. Well, Mary, going back, there's a lot of pictures of myself that I look at and go, what was I thinking? Like, what did I do? Like, remember the 80s with the hair up to here and the flipped
Yeah.
out bangs? I
Yes,
had a
yes, I
mullet.
do.
I had a mullet at one point.
Me too. I had the sides of my head shaved. I think I was talking about this with Irene when we were in Chicago. And I said, I actually can look back at photos. And I know some people, like, they will look back at photos and they go like, oh my gosh, I wish I looked like the way I looked when I was younger. I look back at those photos and I don't see that. I think that's a horrendous fashion choice, Kelly. What were you thinking? Or look at that hairstyle. I tend to think I feel more comfortable in my skin at this age. The way that because I think now I have a level of confidence, and we do have this freedom as people to dress ourselves the way we want to dress. So,
yeah. Well, but the thing is, who knows if 10 years from now we'll look back and go, what were we thinking?
right?
Right? Who
Those
knows?
crop
right?
sweaters, those crop
That's
sweaters.
right. What is she wearing that holy sweater for?
Who does she think she is? Anyway, at the end of the day, as I said, wear what you want to wear. And
well, that's right. Like like I totally feel like you need to feel comfortable with whatever you're wearing.
And I think a person who is dressed in something that they feel good about themselves in, they give off this level of confidence. And those are the kinds of people that you will look at in awe and you'll say, oh my gosh, she could throw anything on and they would look amazing. That's because they have that confidence and they're comfortable in what they're wearing. And I just encourage everybody to play with your wardrobe. Don't, just because you've seen it or you've purchased something a certain way, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You can wear it different ways. You can accessorize it differently and just feel good about what you're out there doing.
Yeah.
So
Kathy
anyway, you're right.
Kathy says she was the hairdresser that did all those hairstyles.
Oh, goodness. I never had to have a perm. I have this naturally curly perm
I
all
had
by
a perm.
itself.
I had a perm. And that's probably why I have the bad memories too, because it was like corkscrew tight. Just like, and like this. And so that's why the permed hair is not ever coming back.
Yeah.
And that could have just been a bad experience that I had with a perm, but that is embedded in my memory. So
Brigitte says she will be 63 on Thursday. And she says, I do me. Way to go, Brigitte. And
that's
Nikki
right.
says, yes, she wore crop sweaters and high-waisted jeans when she was a teen. And now she's in her 40s and she wears them again. Way to go, Nikki. So yes, I love seeing all of these positive reinforced comments in here. Nadine says she's 61 and she wears things that make her feel good, as so you should, Nadine. Yes, absolutely.
I know. And it's like, I know a lot of times I do knit a lot of sweaters in bright colors, but when I have one of those bright colored sweaters on, I really do. I just feel
it is an instant mood booster
and alive. And yeah,
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
So, and that's like, just to add a little bit of color, and that might not work for everybody. That works for me. Like, I feel really good wearing color. I mean, I still like black and white and gray, but I really do like wearing bright colors. So, okay.
We are a knitting podcast. We digress.
Are we going to tell them about? Are we going to tell them about the bridge and how I almost got picked up?
I was going to wait for Julia to bring that up because I thought she would be able to contain herself, or maybe Sarah. So yes, we have we have leveled up our game at the bridge, apparently, because we were sitting under our bridge on Saturday knitting. As per usual, lots of people passing by. Everybody wants to know if we're a group, which sometimes I'm okay with. And other times I think, why do we have to label ourselves into anything other than a group of people that happen to be sitting around knitting? But anyway, it's completely fine. So, there were these two, we'll call them elderly gentlemen, because they were.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that. So, like, say he was 80. I'm 65. It's not like
exactly. It's not unattainable. It is not an unattainable dream. So they were strolling by and they stopped to chat. And then the one gentleman leans over to Noelle and he puts his hand on the corner of her chair and he says to her, I lost my wife. And I think we all thought the story was going to lead to she was a knitter too, but no.
Yep.
What did he say, Noelle?
He said, I'm looking for a new girlfriend.
And the rest of us in the group just went.
And I just said, I'm married. What I should have said was, how much money do you make?
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, he was quite chatty. He was very nice.
Very chatty. He was on his way.
So then he told us, he told us like to come back next week and bring a widow with us.
Yes, yes. He says he has been coming down to the bridge for a period of time now, and that he's not shy to go up to a car if he sees a woman sitting alone. So if you go underneath the bridge, and if you are looking for a certain age gentleman, and he's certainly available, then
Yeah.
yes, Meg says
That's
he's
right.
a yarn daddy.
A yarn daddy.
Yes.
I
And he
thought of that
does.
after. I was just kind of taken by surprise at first. I'm like, is this happening?
Yes, it really happened.
Anyway.
It really happened. And he does play the accordion too, because he was on his way to a gig after doing a little walk.
I used to play the accordion.
See, it's like, I don't know. It was meant to be. So if something ever happens to Ross, I'm toting you down underneath that bridge. And
anyway,
we've got you covered.
I think his brother was like, come on, let's go. Anyway, it was fun. It was a good time.
It was very fun. It was a great day. Yeah. It was a perfect day for knitting too.
You know, what happens under the bridge stays under the bridge.
Well, actually, it doesn't. Those were like the first words out of my mouth. I can't wait to talk about this on Tuesday night.
It just goes out on YouTube. What happens in KnitChat stays in KnitChat. Anyway, we are a knitting podcast. Okay. Yes. So what do you want to start with? Should we start with admin or what we're wearing?
We are 17 minutes in. Let's talk about what we are wearing, and then let's go back to some questions.
Okay.
I just realized I didn't pull any of my information in for what I'm wearing. After I got a stern lecture. I know, but I forgot about that part. Oh, well. Anyway, you start talking.
I said, do you need to pull anything in? How much plainer can I get?
I was thinking about what I had on the table in front of me, not about what I was wearing.
I'll talk about my sweater first. Okay. You go pull in whatever you have to pull in.
I'll go look.
Okay. I am wearing the Alpine Bloom, and it is a sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And I know I put a banner in here somewhere.
Oh, did you? Did you really?
Yes, I did. Okay, so mine is done in Momonoki silk ramie, and the color work is Bara Tricot Champagne. So the Momonoki, the colorway is called Raikou, and for the Champagne, the color is called Mad Monday. So I do have a picture because I did change it a little bit. In the Caitlin Hunter's version, she just does a ribbed hem, but I kind of followed the lace detail that was in the neckband and the sleeves around the bottom of the hem. So I really like how it turned out. I love the yarn. This Momonoki I got at the Knitting Loft in Toronto, and it is the silk ramie and merino, and it's non-superwash. So I really like that. I looked up ramie because we talked about it a little bit before, and I looked up ramie. It is a plant fiber. It is in the realm of like linen or bamboo, but apparently it is very absorbent. So it keeps you dry longer. I think they said like linen is 30% absorbency, the ramie is 20% absorbency, and cotton is 8%. So your cotton doesn't absorb the moisture. That's why you feel soaked when you're in a cotton shirt. So the ramie is a really good summer fiber for wearing to kind of keep you cool. And this does have silk in with it as well. So you get, with the ramie's also kind of a shiny fiber. So you get the nice sheen from both the silk and the ramie. And I really like the fact that the wool in it is not superwash. So it holds its shape a whole lot better. Then the Bara Tricot, the Champagne, that yarn is a blend of 70% silk and 30% mohair. And it's just got the most beautiful sheen to it. And I really love this yarn, as you'll see in later projects here, but I do really love this yarn, like this combination of fibers. And I think it works so well in a lot of different ways. So I only used half a skein in my yoke here. So I've got enough left. And I thought I should have had a little Sophie scarf, and I could have tied it. Well, I got my hair on the other side today. I could have tied it around here. So I probably will do that with some that's left. It is a lighter weight, so I'll probably just double it to do the Sophie scarf. I've got enough left to do that. So that is what I'm wearing. And I see lots of people doing the Alpine Bloom. This yoke was a dream to knit. it's another one of those sweaters that you can't wait till they get to the next row just to see the pattern develop and the flowers develop. And yeah, it was fun. So
Jeannie
there we go.
Sent this in for us. She's a botanist. Rami is a bast or a stem fiber, much more like linen or hemp than a bamboo, which is processed rayon, or cotton, which are hairs from the cotton seed. So
okay,
there we go.
Anyway, I do really like it. I think if it was, and I think one other thing that I read about it too was if you were just knitting with it by itself, it's quite stiff. But because this is a blend with the silk and with the wool in there, it's kind of like linen. It's a lot easier to work with it if it's blended with something else. So, okay. So Kelly, what are you wearing?
I'm just answering a question. Sorry.
Okay.
Mindy wanted to know what the name of your yarn is that's in the yoke, and it's the Bar à Tricot Champagne 2.0. I forgot to put that in, but
is it 2.0?
It is called 2.0. And but there's also a very similar yarn that we knit with now. And I hope that I wasn't tuning you out looking at something else. Did you already talk about this, that it's at the Knitting Loft?
No, it's exactly the same yarn composition.
Okay, yes. So if you're closer to us or you're in Ontario and you want to purchase that, you can get that at the Knitting Loft in Toronto, and they market it under their own label, and it's called Care, Kare.
Yeah, I have some things to show in that coming up. So
yeah. Okay. I am wearing the Coutard Tee by Sari Nordland. And I did pop into Ravelry to find a finished picture, and apparently I didn't update that project page. So there are no pictures in there. I might have to drag Mike out again to do a little bit of photography for me. I didn't realize I didn't have a picture in there, but I knit this one using the Holst yarn, and it's Coast, one strand of Coast held with one strand of the Titicaca, which is an alpaca. And this is hands down one of my favorite sweaters. I love, love, love this beautiful lace work across the yoke. And it's based on, I believe she said when she designed the pattern, a Japanese lace pattern. So there are no rest rows. It's just every pattern is lace. And then she went on, I think she has a camisole, she has socks, and I think there's a full sweater or a cardigan, a Coutard cardigan, yes, in the same pattern. This was a joy to knit. It was an absolute joy. And this is one of my favorite yarn compositions too. It's the stitch definition is really nice, but it's very, very soft. And this one is quite cropped. I specifically knit this one to go with my jumper dresses. And yeah. Oh, and I guess I am wearing something else too. This is also a Sophie scarf by Petite Knits. And this is using the, what did I make this out of? This is Coast, one strand, so the same color. And then the paler color is the...
Is it Aria?
No, is it Haya?
It's whatever the whole scarn new one is. I've not knit with it, so I can't remember, but
I think it's still right close to me, but maybe not. I think it's called Haya, and it's so soft. And I have an itchy nose. Why do I have an itchy nose? I get on here and I have to like itch all these parts of my face. It's very, very soft. And so I did modify it slightly. I didn't make the scarf as wide as the pattern. I like them a little bit narrower because I tend to wear them around my head. And then it's very soft. I've been asked this a few times, like, how does it feel to wear knitwear around your head? It feels to me better than wearing the cotton bandanas that I wear, because this is really soft against my head, no pressure whatsoever. And then I just kind of tie it in a knot and tuck the ends under. And I really like that look. So that's another, can you wear a scarf around your head when you're 59? Yes, you can.
So Marianne looked it up for us, and it is called Haya.
Haya.
And Bridget asked, what needle size did you use, Kelly, for your, I don't know if she means your sweater or the Sophie.
I'll wait until if you want to let us know, Brigitte, which one you're talking about, whether it's the Sophie or the sweater.
And we should say too that within 24 hours of the show, you will be able to go down underneath and click on a link to go to the show notes. The show notes will link to our Ravelry pages, which, if they're updated, should have all the information.
I feel another post-show lecture coming on.
Anyway, so they usually are updated. So yeah, and all the information's there as far as needle sizes that we used. I know I even weigh my yarn so that there's the exact yardage and the exact, although, I mean, honestly, that I do put that there, but it really doesn't give you any more information on that unless you're going to knit a sweater exactly the same size as mine. So,
right.
But it's still sometimes good to know. So
the Kuchar, the colors, by the way, too, it was Red Currant was the Coast, and the Titicaca is Rose Bay. And I used 3.25 needles for that. So, and the color that is behind me, this blue up here, Annette was wondering, I know that it's Coast and it's called River Wash or Stone River Stone. Oh, goodness. I thought I knew.
I thought it was just called River.
River?
I don't know. I have some of it, but I can't remember. Anyway.
Well, hold on. Let me grab it down. River. Plain River. This one was called Stonewash. Okay. This was the mate, and this is what I knit one of my ranunculi out of. So the whole site is very good for their Titicaca. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it will give you like a full chart of what what they recommended
what.
Yeah, they would say that this is a perfect pair for this one, and then they may give you another color if you were interested in pairing it with the Super Soft or any of their brands, which is really helpful when you are shopping online.
And when you can't see it,
and when you can't see it yourself.
Yeah.
And even this, though, like this was not a perfect match. Can I find it? No, it's directly behind me, out of my reach. And so it wasn't a perfect match, but when you knit them together, it was very complementary, and it ended up with a fabric that I thought was really beautiful. And then that's what I did with this one too. Haya didn't have a perfect match, but I thought it looked similar to the Red Currant, so I paired it together and it came out okay.
Okay, so we have a little bit of admin to go through. So we'll first go through, there was a couple of questions. First of all, someone had asked if we could talk a little bit about ease, and how do you know in a pattern whether or not the measurements that they give you include ease or don't include ease. Okay, so if you go to a pattern, if you go to Ravelry, oftentimes there's quite a bit of information before you even purchase the pattern. And sometimes it will say to fit bust, and it'll give you the bust sizes. And then underneath it will say finished garment size. In that case, the garment is going to turn out the finished garment size. And you can figure out what ease they're recommending based on the difference between the bust size and what they're telling you the finished size is. Sometimes they just give you one measurement and you're not positive, you don't know. So what I usually do is I go, and obviously I can only do this after I've purchased the pattern. I go in, look at the pattern, and I'll look at the, if it's a top-down sweater, I'll look at what is the number of stitches that they give you once you separate out the sleeves and cast on under the arms, okay? And then whatever that number of stitches is, I divide it by the gauge, right? So let's say the gauge was 22 stitches. I divide it by the gauge, and that will give me the chest measurement of that particular garment. And then I can look and see, okay, is this the chest measurement for that size, or have they already added the ease? Like oftentimes, well-written patterns will tell you it's for this size bust, but here's the ease and here's the finished garment. Other will say, choose your size based on the sizes they're giving being the finished measurement. So you've really got to read it carefully. So,
and you also have to bear in mind that their suggested ease may not be yours comfort level of ease. I know there are a lot of patterns that like the very boxy sweaters. Like they want sometimes like 12 to 14 inches of ease. And that to me, for me, that is too much for me. So I will always size that pattern down to where an ease level that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So,
and Linda has a good point. She said, you can go and you can check, like, especially if it's a pattern that's been knit quite a few times, like go and check what people have said about it. Oftentimes, if they think it's too much, or if they think that there might be an error, you'll find that in people's notes. So it is a good idea to do that. And you also want to remember, when you're looking at a finished garment measurement, like a lot of things tell you to base your garment on your upper bust as opposed to your full bust. So your upper bust is you would be measuring like around here. So it'll be above your bust. And then your full bust obviously is across the widest part of your bust. So depending on, like, I know I have very little difference between my full bust and my upper bust, but I think for my size, I have relatively broad shoulders. So from here, my back kind of goes out. So this measurement is only maybe an inch and a half different than this measurement. But some people, and then they also say, if the measurement is quite significant, you really probably need to think about doing bust darts.
Yes.
In order that you're not producing too much fabric up here in order to compensate for your bust size. So it might just be that you need an increase around there. So they're all those things are things that you've got to think about before you actually start into the pattern. Sometimes patterns will say that they include bust adjustment. So that's already written for you. I've never had to do it, so I've not really looked at it, but I'm sure that if you Googled it online, there's probably tutorials out there that tell you how to do it too. So, okay. And then the other question was that someone asked was, could we suggest some children's knits that were a little bit more up to date? Well, I can go through and Kelly can tell you what we kind of look at, like what designers I kind of look at. I do like Petite Knits. She's got an amazing array of kids patterns. Some of them are in finer weight yarns.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, some of them are in finer weights. Some of them are in heavier weights. Oftentimes for little babies, you might want to do something that's in a heavier weight simply because it'll knit up faster and they don't wear it for very long. So it's less time to do it. Another designer is, who were you going to say?
Velvet Acorn.
Yes, the Velvet Acorn. She does, and her patterns actually go right from baby right up. And Heather just said here too, Tin Can Knits. Yeah, and Tin Can Knits, again, when you get a pattern from them, it's right from newborn up to like adult male. So,
and then there's Claudia Quintanilla.
Yep.
From Unit Toronto. She has just put out actually a children's book, and I believe hers go all the way from newborn up to about 6 years of age. So you're getting quite a range there. And there's actually a sweater that she has out that I struggled very hard not to cast it on this week gone by. So I know that it's going to get cast on this week because I can't stop. I keep going back and looking at it, and it's called the Eggcorn Sweater. And
it's cute. I saw that one too.
Cutest little sweater ever. So Miles will be getting an Eggcorn sweater for the fall. Beverly is suggesting Frogginette.
Yeah, Frogginette does have good patterns. I have knit quite a few of those. Yep. And I also, there's a new one. I haven't knit any yet, but I really like her aesthetic, and it's called Sif Knits. I think they're a little bit more like Scandinavian, like minimalist designs, kind of. Because that's what everybody wants for the babies now, is all this kind of like, neutral, classic, timeless sort of thing. So they were very nice. There's some other good suggestions here too.
Hilliard, that's a great suggestion because I knit a couple of her patterns for Miles. Very good knits, well-written patterns.
So. Yep, and Heather also says along a Becana, and hers are very nice too. I've knit a couple of those for the girls. So I'll make sure in the show notes that I put in a couple of these. And Kim just says OGE knits. And yes, those are really good patterns too.
Right too. Yes.
I've knit a couple of the rompers from there. They're really cute. So yeah, so there's lots of good suggestions in here. I'll put a little list together and put them in the show notes. So,
okay.
But I think if you just go just go into Ravelry and type in some of those designers' names, it'll show some. Well, it'll show a lot of them and you can kind of pick from there. And we've got some comments here. Debbie Bliss. I haven't knit as many Debbie Bliss lately, but I did back ages ago
in the day.
Knit all sorts of Debbie Bliss patterns. But yeah, when I think about it now, a lot of the ones that I actually knit then would be perfectly fine for knitting now. I guess the only thing I that was different about them was because they're older, a lot of the patterns were knit and then seamed together as opposed to like top down all in one piece. So.
Jackie's asking, what yarn content do you use for children? Jackie, both of us, my number one is going to be Barocco Vintage DK. It has a little bit of a wool content to it, but it's a super wash yarn. So when you're gifting it away, you don't have to worry that somebody is going to damage it when they care for it. And also, if you're bearing in mind that you're giving away something to a child, it's going to have to get washed probably with every wear, not like a sweater that we would wear, that we would kind of take care of it a little bit more. So you just definitely want to be thinking about that. What are some other yarns that you knit the kids knits with?
Well, if I'm knitting like for Molly and Isla, Rachel's really good and she'll hand wash anything. So I don't have to worry so much when I'm knitting for them. I know it's going to get hand washed. So again, for me, it depends on who I'm knitting for. If I'm doing it as a gift, most likely I'm going to use something that can go in the washer and dryer. So, I mean, if you're going to do a fingering weight sweater, sock yarn is perfect because one skein of sock yarn will do like up to about a year-old sweater. And you know that it can go in the washer and dryer. So that's perfect. But yeah, when you get into the heavier yarns, I do like the Barocco because the Barocco it's got both a DK, the Barocco vintage has both a DK and a worsted weight. And it's got quite a bit of yardage. So even though you're doing a heavier cardigan, because the yarn has quite a bit of yardage, you actually get a lighter garment. So I do like it for that too. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And then did you have any other questions that anybody asked?
Oh, I did. Anne asked, she wanted to know if we had ever knit any sweaters by Teddy Lutzak. And she's the one, she has a podcast called Teddy's Garden. And there's actually, I haven't yet, but there is actually,
I think I have a lot favorited.
There's a sweater pattern that she has that I desperately want to make. And it's called the Pictus Pullover. And that's actually the one that Anne was wondering about as well. So no, we haven't knit them yet, but they are in our list.
Yep.
I'm interested to knit them.
Yeah. So. Okay, so the last thing that we have for admin is last week we gave away a Sandy bag on the show. Yes. So we said that over the week when people watched after, we would do another one for the people that are watching after the fact. So Kelly's showing you the bag. It's got lots of nice little sheep on it and beautiful pocket out in front. And I believe there's a pocket on the inside as well.
There is. And the one inside has a zipper in it as well. Plus a pocket behind.
Yep, it'll hold lots of yarn. It holds
a lot of yarn. And it has a nice like a vinyl bottom. So you don't have to worry about
you can set it down.
Setting it down. Yep. You can wipe it.
Yep.
Okay.
So I did a random number generator from the YouTube comments, and the winner is Wendy Morris. And we
Congratulations,
had asked,
Wendy.
Like where you usually knit or who you usually knit with. And Wendy said that she doesn't have any knitting friends, so she knits watching podcasts. And that was a common theme. Like there was a lot of people that didn't really have a group that kind of like a lot of their friends don't knit. So like I've been lucky for most of my whole life. I've had like right from when the kids were just little after I was married, I've had a group of friends that knit. The group's changed. I used to be the youngest one in the group. Now I'm the oldest one in the group. But
I have never had a group of people. Never. I didn't know that. I mean, up until the last few years, I didn't realize that knitting was a group sport. Actually, we should be in the Olympics. Anyway, I always thought it was something that you did by yourself. I didn't know anybody that knit. I mean, I may have known people that knit, but it wasn't something that we said, hey, let's get together and hang out and knit. I don't know. It was just something that I did at home. So maybe the norms are changing around that as well. And now suddenly it is something that you gather together. And I know that I'm so much more inspired when I'm knitting with a group of friends. I get a little less knit, as Noelle pointed out one day. She goes, you tend to put the knitting down when you start talking. And I do tend to talk a little bit. So yeah, there's that. But I am certainly inspired and encouraged. And there's nothing better than getting together with a group of people where
Yeah, and
everybody
I
is
mean,
oohing and awing over what you're doing, and you get to see what they're up to as well.
well, and I think it's like for a lot of people that don't have people close to them to knit, then podcasts are a really nice thing because you can still, feel like you're knitting with friends. You can still get inspiration. You can still see all the, all the new things that are coming out, what's coming out in yarn. Like I said, I'm probably in the minority that I actually did have a group like right from young. And Kelly, I mean, it was in Corunna. You just lived like.
But you never invited me. I don't know.
You.
I didn't know you. Did we tell Wendy how to get in touch with us?
No, we need to do that.
Sorry, Wendy.
Okay,
Wendy's in here. I'll go find that banner.
Okay. So Wendy, you can email us your information. We need to know, well, we've got your full name, Wendy Morris. We just need to know your full mailing address, and we will get that bag in the mail to you. So you can let us know at knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. And we hope that you love your Sandy bag as much as we love ours. So, because I think like, especially with the vinyl bottom, they're perfect bags to take under the bridge because you can kind of set it down on the ground, and
they're perfect for everywhere. They're perfect on a plane. They're perfect on a train. They're under the bridge. You could take it on a date if you get lucky while you're knitting under the bridge.
Okay, let's move on.
Can we show some knitting?
Yes. Did you finish anything?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. How many things did you finish this week?
2.
Okay, you start. I only have 1.
Okay, well, I already told you that I finished my holes. That sounds.
Cindy wants to know, before you show that, pop it down 1 sec. Cindy wants to know, how did we become friends? Cindy, we met in a yarn store. I know that sounds really cliche. I wish it was like a way cooler story, but we did. We met in a yarn store, and we've been friends ever since.
Okay. Here is my Look at My Holes by James and Watts. And this is done in Noro Kakagori, and it's color number 08. I can't remember the name, but it's color 08. And yeah, I love it. I love it, even though I had to rip it out 4 times when I was starting it in Chicago.
If you had worn that tonight, we would be a perfect match again.
I know, but I didn't get a chance to block it. So you can see some of my ends. My ends are sewn in, but because it's cotton, I kind of want to make sure that I block it first and then pull them so that I know that they're through. So I haven't even cut them off yet, but yeah, I really like it. The only modification I made was the sleeves would have ended about there, and I just did them a little bit longer, so they kind of came down to my elbow.
Okay.
And I still had more yarn, and I think that the one in the picture might have been shorter. Well, again, we adapt it for the style that we think is going to look okay on us, and so I made mine a little bit longer. I was totally inspired by the 3-ply girls that all had theirs on at the podcast. That was Irene, Joyce, and Angie, and they all looked so cute in theirs that I just needed to cast one on right away. So really happy with it. I like the Noro Kakagori yarn. I believe it's mostly cotton, but I do think it has some silk in it too. And yeah, I still have it's a 200-gram ball, and I still think I have like 49 grams left. So.
And that, again, that's one of those sweaters that you can change it completely just by the length that you make it, the item that you wear it with, given that you wear it with an item at all. Some people don't. But when we were in Chicago, the 3 gals from 3-Ply podcast, they had theirs on, and each one of them looked like a completely different sweater because they styled it differently.
Okay. Kim just notes here that she had made a list of children's designers, and it's post 160. So I will look that up and make sure I add that to the show notes.
That's right. She did. She made a very comprehensive list.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my first finished object. And the Kakagori is kind of like a tweedy yarn. Like there's different kind of colors in it, but it's not like your typical Noro where it's got the long color changes. Like it's kind of more of a whole uniform look. So yep, I'd knit with that yarn again. I really do like it. So that's my first finished object. So you go ahead.
Okay. Mine is,
I'll find, oh, you got it. Okay.
I finished my shawl. This was a shawl. I do have a picture, but it honestly, the picture doesn't look like mine because the picture was made with a fingering weight yarn and mine is not. So I haven't made a shawl in a long time, but this spoke to me when we were in Chicago at Elgin Knitworks. There was one there made up, and here it is. Look at that.
Gorgeous. That color is amazing.
It is an amazing color. You know, it seriously doesn't matter what you're wearing. This color just kind of goes with absolutely everything. And it's a perfect summer shawl. Like I will throw this on with linen dresses. It is the Barocco Summer Sesame, which is a great name. And so it's cotton, acrylic, and a little bit of nylon in there. It's a 100-gram ball. It's very cost effective. And I did have to change the pattern a little bit. So it's sort of 3 sections. And what I did was the first section, I didn't do the full repeats. I just went halfway through the skein of yarn. And then the rest of the pattern will be self-explanatory after that. But it was really fun to do a little one skein project. And I probably should have been working on sweaters that I'd already cast on, but I wanted to have this ready for summer because I just know that it's going to be one of those things. Even, you know, sometimes when you're just feeling a little bit of a chill at night, I think this will look great with a linen shirt over top of the linen dresses. And this colorway is 5238. The name is Orchid. And it just, like I said, it goes with a lot of things.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And so I blocked it because it really does need to be blocked to open up that lace. But I really, really love the colors. And I know that I'm going to wear this quite a bit. So
now you said that the original pattern is done. Is the pattern a fingering weight pattern?
I think it might be.
Okay.
I honestly didn't even look at it. But if they're using a one skein of fingering, then yes, I think it must have been.
Okay.
Because it definitely must have been, because they said at the widest point, the shawl was 6 inches. This one is probably closer to 8.
Okay.
But
okay.
I love the way it has these kind of like, you can see these like converging lines that it creates when you work on it.
Yep.
And it's really fun. So it's garter with just a little bit of lace, very little counting, but.
Okay. So Mary said that it was fingering. And then Julie wanted to know, did you have any left or did you just knit till the end of the skein?
I did not knit to the end. I have about 3 grams left. And the reason I stopped where I stopped is because that took me just a couple of rows past a lace row. Okay. And I didn't want to have I didn't want to have too many rows of garter past the lace. So that was just my decision to stop it where I did. But I really like it. I feel like this is a Julia scarf too, Julia, since you asked. I feel like this is something that we would see Julia wearing, but I'm really happy with it. And I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And again, so this is something that I saw in the yarn shop at Elgin. Probably wouldn't have come upon my radar. Okay.
Okay. So my second finished object is my Wilfreda.
So that turned out beautiful. Let me go grab a banner.
This is Wilfreda sweater by Venka Rolled.
We've got it now. We've got it
now. So this is done in the Knitting Loft Care. So this is what we were talking about. The yarn that's in my Alpine Bloom here. This is the Barre Tricot Champagne, but this Care is the exact same composition. So it's 70% silk, 30% mohair. So this took 1.51 skeins.
Nice. So very nice.
And it's full long sleeved right down to the end. And the sleeve is just a straight sleeve right down to the end. And then you kind of do a rapid decrease. Then the body of the sweater, it is longer in the back. So it's shorter in the front and then longer in the back. It's hard to see in the black. I think you can see it a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
That it is longer in the back. I really didn't do the only modification is I did not do as many short rows in the back because that was as long as I really wanted it. I didn't want it to be super long in the back.
That's a great idea. Yep.
So yeah, and I just love the pattern like that.
Mhm.
It was fun. There's really, for all that detail in there, there's really only 2 rows that require a whole lot of work. And
I think I've got,
this yarn just feels, I still haven't gotten over my love affair with it.
no. And this, before you pull it down, talking about that, this is another one of those sweaters where depending on how you knit it and what you use to knit it, it's going to look like an entirely different sweater. Because I'm working
Yeah.
on the same sweater. I didn't work on it this week, but I'm using a Holst super soft strand held with a strand of mohair. And look at how different the sweater looks just based on
Yep.
the fabric that's created by the yarns, the materials that you're using. So I guess that speaks to as well, like sometimes we think, gosh, I don't know if I want to, some of the patterns of sweaters, they're a little bit pricey, not going to lie. I know a lot of work goes into them and the tech editing and whatnot, but if you're buying a new pattern every time you're casting on a new sweater, it can get pricey. But just bear in mind that you may not knit it exactly the same way, but you have a lot of options to make it look like an entirely different sweater.
Well,
and yours is gorgeous.
You could have done this short sleeve. You could have made the body cropped. Like,
yes,
this is like, I think we both kind of looked at this pattern because we do both really love the ranunculus, but I've got 7 of them. And we had talked about this yarn being perfect for a black ranunculus. And
yes, which is what I'm doing with mine.
In the last month did 2 ranunculuses in this yarn.
Yes.
So I thought I need to do something different. It has to be something different. So this, I think this will be a good sweater because it is the silk and the mohair, and it's only 30% mohair. Like, I think it'll be a pretty good all year round sweater. Like, you could wear that in the summer on a cooler night, but I think I'll still be able to wear it through the winter because you could put like a shirt underneath it with just like a little collar sticking out or a little turtleneck underneath it. And yeah, and it does like it because it's that yarn is so light and airy. Like, this whole sweater weighs like 150 grams. So it'd be perfect for packing. Because then you can bring more yarn home.
That's right. So, it's barely nothing.
I really do like this yarn and liked knitting the sweater. And I could easily see doing another one of these sweaters. I really did like it.
Yes, absolutely. I have future plans for it too. It was so much fun. And it does remind me very much of the ranunculus in that, it's got that fun pattern up at the top. And then you're just into the basic knitting to the sizes that you want to knit it. So, and holy moly, I just looked up in the corner. I'm kind of gobsmacked here. There's 516 people in here in this room right now. In the KnitChat cafe, there are 516 people.
That must be why my coffee's not here yet.
Wow.
Anyway, Becky wants to know that I use size 10. Becky, I used a 5mm, whatever that is in I think a 5 might be an 8 US.
It is.
Okay. And how I judge the size on that is because I just finished my 2 ranunculus and I know that I like the gauge in it. So I knew the number of stitches that was around here in my ranunculus and that's what I wanted. So I went to the pattern and picked the size that had that many stitches for the bust. So, and I believe that was the second size. So I think it might be a little bit different than the tension that's called for in the pattern, but not much, I don't think. Do you remember, Kelly, what the tension was or what the gauge was?
No.
I think it might be 18 and I think mine might be 17, but I'm not, okay. I'm not positive on that. Like, I just knew that 150 stitches in that yarn was going to work for me. So, okay. So, do you have any whips?
I do.
Okay.
Making notes here. I'm still trying to process that many people in here. I just want to say a huge thank you. Thank you to everybody that has been along with us. Like, the very first time we did a live, we had 42 people and we thought we were having the best time ever, and 516 and we're still having the best time ever. This is amazing. And we never thought that, we just never thought. And
I'm just saying it's a good thing that there's not really restaurant staff in here trying to serve us all.
It would be a lot of cold coffee, but we are thrilled to have each and every one of you here.
We are.
Absolutely.
Okay, people are saying that the gauge is 16. Okay,
16.
so I think mine is around 16, 17, because I know the ranunculus is less than that. I think the ranunculus is like 14. And I just find that a little bit too loose.
Too loose. Yeah. For
So,
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
whips.
I
brought 2 down that I'm actively working on. So
okay.
What have you got?
A few. Okay. I'll just show this quickly because I only did a little bit more on it, but it's coming along. So this is my Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christophers. Again, this is done in the main color yarn is Skeins Southlander Sport, and the colorway is Dusty Heather. And the contrast yarn again is the Knitting Loft Care, and that color is called Frosted Sprinkles. So it's really pretty. It's got like it's got pale yellows and pinks and aquas, and I really like how it looks with the more rustic yarn. And I just have so many things that I'm working on. I want to get back to this too, but there's just so many things out there that I want to knit, but
I
that is
cast
a
4
fun
sweaters.
pattern, but
Okay, I cast 4 sweaters on last week. All right. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. So,
but it's that one's because you're doing mosaic, you're basically 2 rows for every 1 row. So it is slow going, but worth it. So
it's going to be worth it. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
sweater. And I love the colors you've chosen. I think that's going to be really versatile. You're going to get a lot of wear out of that. A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to pick the right buttons too. Maybe at Rhinebeck.
Maybe.
Okay. What do you have?
Okay. I have, well, since last week, I finished the yoke on this. This is my Salty Air Tea.
That's pretty.
And that is pretty much the right color. I think it's color adjusted now. I spent some time down here working on a lighting system that's a color adjust.
I do like that color.
It's very spicy. It's very spicy. It is.
It looks like I think the one. It does it. I don't know.
It's turmeric. It's
linen
quill. So it's 50% fine Highland wool, 35 alpaca, and 15% linen. And the color is turmeric yellow. And it definitely is. This looks exactly what my fingers get stained with anytime I cook with turmeric. I don't know how I get it on my fingers, but I do. And I'm here for it. I think this will look amazing with navy. I think it will look great with white.
Mm-hmm.
Well, heck, it'll look good with a lot of things, but I really love the color. And I love this pattern. Now, I am getting gauge. I'm getting stitch gauge. I wasn't getting row gauge. For some reason, I'm getting more length than I should be getting. So I measured, there was supposed to be 6 extra rows in here, which would be sort of one more little V, but I was already really close to where I needed to be for the yoke. So I didn't do those. I'm one little V row short, and then I did just a few rows. And so now I am on to the body. So I've got, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of an inch of it done, not too much. Got my sleeves pulled off. And it was a really fun pattern to knit. This is a really nice yarn to work with. I may be one of the few people that haven't knit with linen quill yet.
I haven't knit with it.
You haven't? I
haven't knit with it.
I like it. I like it a lot. And so I knit all of this. So I always recommend that you alternate your colors. But this one is the yoke. I did all in one color, but now that I am below the yoke, I'm using helical knitting. So I'm alternating my 2 skeins.
Do they not have dye lots?
Well, they do.
Do they look different? I thought that they did, but I've not knit with it, so I'm not positive.
I
thought that they did have dye lots.
I still sometimes get nervous. So here's my intention. I don't plan to helical knit the whole sweater. I only have this little ball left of the first one. When that one's gone, I'm just going to carry on with another, like a full one. I'm hoping to get the sweater done. This is going to be a crop sweater similar to this Kutar tee. So I'm hoping to get it all done in 2 skeins anyway. So there'll be nothing left to alternate when I'm done the little one. But I don't know. I just get nervous about that. What if I just get nervous? Sometimes even commercial yarn, if it's like a full solid color like this, like if it were something like this, where I'm holding 2 strands, right? Less nervous, but where one skein has to carry that sweater, I do not want a mistake. So I'm alternating for a little while. Okay. But I'm really happy with it. And I see why everybody is hooked on this pattern, because it's a lot of fun. And I really do like doing a lace yoke. That's sort of like a comfort level sweater for me. And this one is really, really hitting all the boxes for me, for sure. Okay.
Okay, so Linda had asked, what's the best way to alternate skeins when doing lace? Linda, and I'll show you actually in my next thing, I am doing a lace pattern and I am alternating skeins. You can't really do true helical. Might as well show you what I'm working on. Yeah. So this is part of our Florencia tee.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I've got done so far. So this is the Florencia tee by Claudia from Knit Toronto. So this is part of their Florencia knit along. And we are also having a Knit or a Claudia Quintanilla knit along. So we'll get into the details of that later. But this does have, I am alternating. So if I hold up the 2 skeins there, this is Amelia and Philomene, and this is their Madame Philippon.
Yes.
And one skein is definitely darker than the other. So I knew I couldn't get away with it, even in lace. I knew I had to alternate it. So in this one, and I'll see if I can find where it is here. Okay. So this line, I don't even know if you can see it. This line right here is where I'm carrying up the colors, and I switch every time I get to that yarn over. So I'm just kind of carrying it up. So it's gradually moving over. And I've just got, you can see a diagonal line here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Like it does blend in quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Hold it close. So I'm holding up the one. That's the exact.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just kind of carrying that up like that. You can't see it on this side of the fabric.
No.
But if I just pulled it up the side, you would be able to see it. But if you kind of change your yarn, like where the stitch pattern changes at some point, you don't see it because there's a change in the stitch pattern anyway. So that's what I'm doing, and it's working out. It's working out quite well. Oftentimes when I get to the rib of something, I just leave the rib because there's going to be a change when you get from the rib into the stockingette portion anyway. So when I did the sleeves, I just did it with one skein, and then I just alternated a few rows in here before I got up and joined it for the body. So this is the first time, not the first time. It's been a long time since I've done a bottom up like this, where you actually had to graft the sleeves. So I had them all on my barber cords, but there was 4 of them hanging down for the body and for the sleeve. And I thought I have to do them up because I can't, it's too much cords hanging around. So this is the first time I did it. I turned it inside out and I Finchley grafted it instead of Kitchenering. So I'm happy with the result. I started this sweater with a provisional cast on. It does have ribbing down here. And you can see that's as much of the body there is, but it looks short. But when you pull out the lace, like it's going to come down a bit. And there's 2 to 3 inches of rib. So I'll judge how much rib, once I get it done and try it on, I'll judge how much rib I'm going to do. So I am up in the yoke now. So the yoke continues with the lace pattern. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. This yarn is a dream. It's I'm
enjoying the yarn.
Cotton merino blend, and it feels amazing. But that's if I'm switching or alternating yarns in something that's got a pattern in it, I do it where there's a change in the texture of the pattern.
So I'm also working on I have much less done. I have just some ribbing done on my Florencia cowl, and I'm using the same yarn, and mine is the colorway Rita. I think mine, they look pretty close, but I am not going to tempt fate with that. I was just curious. Yeah, this one does not have a dye lot. So
They
anyway,
don't. It is definitely hand dyed.
Yeah.
So, and see, when you hold that up, I can see one looks darker.
This one does look a little darker,
yep.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
So I will definitely alternate once I finish the ribbing. I'm completely okay with the ribbing. If it were off a little bit slight, it's going to be minute. But, and then, yeah, so that's what I have. And I really like it. It's a blue. I thought it was a gray, but it's definitely more blue than it is gray. But this is something that I don't have a sweater in this color, and I've never knit with the merino cotton. Sarah's asking me to tell everyone about my ribbing fix. Okay. I don't recall that I have ever done this before. This is, every knitting pattern ever says when you join your stitches in the round, be careful that you haven't twisted. And I have never twisted my stitches. I don't recall a time. Maybe, no, that's not true. Maybe once or twice I have. But anyway,
I think your mind just blocked it out.
Probably because it was traumatic.
No, mine didn't. It still haunts me.
This is like a couple hundred stitches, and I'm doing twisted rib, and I got about 3 or 4 rows in, mid-story of something else. I looked down and I'm like, this doesn't look right. Laid everything out. I had twisted it. So I thought, darn it. Half of the group was saying, yank it out. And I'm like, no, I think I can work with this. I can work with this. So I have to show you. I just twisted it. I flipped it over and I carried on. And I think I was, excuse me, I think I was on my 4th row because people were saying, you're too far, you're too far. So I flipped it. You can be the judge. So you can see it right down at the bottom, barely. But by the time I weave this across,
yeah, you can sew that.
Excuse me, you're not going to notice it because there's no way I was taking out that many long tail cast on stitches, twisted rib. So
well, the time I did it, I was done the rib and it was like 2 inches of ribbing before I.
Oh, okay, that's too far. But
there was no fixing.
Yeah.
Not unless I turned it into a Mobius sweater.
And I think Noelle was teasing me too. She goes, so you're contemplating ripping out a sock, but you're going to carry on with a sweater. And I said,
exactly.
Yeah, I am. But I mean, you have to admit, you really can't see that. That's going to be,
and I thought, I forget who it was under the bridge that had a good idea and said, you can get one of those little tags, those little leather tags.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And just sew it on there. So, and then
so if I had done more rows, absolutely. No, I am not down for starting that again. That's a no.
Anyway.
Just no.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. So my next whip is, I got the sock started. So this is one of my next Christmas socks. This is Timber Yarns marled sock, and this is their dark green colorway. And I just want to say thank you to Isabel. I did an alternating cable cast on because I was kind of bored and I thought, oh, I just need to try something new. So I did an alternating cable cast on. So it kind of gives you the look of, I don't know if you can see it. It kind of gives you the look of a tubular cast on. And I love it. I love it. I will definitely do it again. It's so much easier than a tubular cast on, and you don't have to pull out the long tail, so you don't have to worry about wasting any yarn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So because that's all. You just start with one stitch. So that's all.
That's what should have been on Salty RT. And I was taking advice from Isabel because she cast on, and you know what? It could be where she chose to cast on in a room full of other knitters, everybody talking. And she said it took her forever. So I thought, well, if it took Isabel forever, why do I want to do this for myself? And I just pulled a bunch of stitches out. Why do I want to do that? So I completely chickened out and said, the heck with that. I am just casting on a regular German twisted cast on for my Salty RT. And that's how it's going to go. And that's what I did. But now I kind of feel bad. I should have done it.
This is the website, and I'm going to put, this is the YouTube tutorial. I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, like I say, like try it. It's so much easier than tubular. And they even show you how, the tutorial even shows you how to adapt it for 2x2 rib. So
okay.
I was just like, I was so excited about it. And Ross is sitting there. I'm like, Ross, do you want to see my new cast on? And he goes, sure. I'm like,
okay. I will totally redeem myself. The next sweater I cast on, I'll use that method just to make up for what I didn't cast on here.
Anyways, I was so excited about it. Like it just, you know, learn something new. Now I'm like, what can I cast on that I could use that for?
I left my socks upstairs, but I have been working away at those too. So I'm into the heel. The heel of the second sock. So I am well on my way to getting those done. So I guess I have been picking away at those too. But that's pretty much it. Did have a
Isabel,
couple of,
it wasn't, I don't remember who the tutorial was. I copied that website, but I will put it into the show notes. And I thought it explained things really well. Like I think I only had to watch it once. So anyway, it was fun. So, okay. What else do you have?
Oh, shoot.
11 p.m.
Well, I thought I was going to show it and I went and erased it. Sorry, but okay. I remember what it said. It was Mary earlier. She was wondering, she said that she said she's been lazy on getting her socks into the sock-along. She has a few pairs that she finished this year, but they were finished like in May. Yes, absolutely, Mary. You can still enter them into the year
as long as they're not
as
in
long
there
as
already,
they're, yeah, as long as they were finished this year, you are good to go. And we just had some other comment.
Did you change your words around on your sock?
No, not yet. I haven't gone back to that yet. So earlier when I was complaining about my itchy nose, here are the comments that came in. Jane says an itchy nose means I'm lying. Jane, I'm not lying.
I thought it was supposed to mean you're going to kiss a fool.
No, it's her nose is growing. No, it keeps going though. And then my knit says an itchy nose means guests are coming. And then Anne said, Kelly, if I have an itchy nose, it means I'm going to kiss a fool. So I'm not going to tell my husband. I'm not going to tell my husband that.
That's the one that I knew, that you're going to kiss a fool. So anyway. Okay. So I have not worked on my field sweater this week, but today I swatched for 2 new projects.
You swatched?
I swatched.
What the what?
Okay. So the first one is going to be this one.
The souffle tee.
So, pardon me.
Isn't that the souffle tee? Yes.
Yes. I'm just going to find the banner.
I have yarn for that.
There we go. So this is the souffle tee by Laura Penrose. And I think this is the first one that she did. So her version is done in all mohair. It's mohair, a single strand of mohair up at the top, and then a double strand of mohair in through the bottom. And then it's got the ruffle that kind of separates where the change takes place. So, whoops, I just want to I was going to take the picture off now.
Okay.
Okay. So, guess what I'm going to do it in?
What? Care? How did I know?
I don't know. You just guessed. Okay. So I've got a couple of pictures here. Okay. So this is, I've kind of put the 2 yarns together. There's a mohair there, and then there's the care. So the care is in the color spray, and that mohair is Zambezi by Fleece Artist.
Yes.
Yes, that I got probably 4 years ago, and the color is called Ivory. And here is my swatch.
Ooh,
so
very
the
nice.
Spray is like you can see the sheen from the silk, but it's got little pops of all different colors in it, like every color, green, yellow, but it's got like this really soft ivory beigey background. And the mohair is actually their color called Ivory.
Okay.
And their ivory, well, you can't really see it in this because it's rolled up, but their ivory it's got little tiny hints of other colors in it, like a pale gray, a pale pink, a pale peach. And when you put them together, like when I rolled them together, I just really like how it
That's
looks. So
beautiful.
the top
Yes.
of the sweater is going to be the mohair. And then I believe that the ruffle is all in the mohair, because
I
in the
think it
heavier
is.
yarn,
Yes.
it might be too heavy. And then the body of the yarn will be, or the body of the sweater will be in this color. And I think it's going to work out really well for it. So I did a swatch. So I think I'm going to be using 4mm needles for this, because it's going to be a little bit tighter gauge than what it is in the ranunculus. And because I didn't want the mohair to be too loose. So, and then around the neck, so this cream mohair is going to be that mohair around the neck, but then I'm going to there's an I-cord band, and I'm going to do the I-cord band in this,
Very
which I think will
nice. Yeah.
really tie it all together.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
I
beautiful.
really excited about that. So, and again, like that, even the pictures don't do the yarn justice. Well, you've seen the yarn, like it just glows.
Speaks for itself. It's beautiful. It really is. It's
So,
radiant. It's radiant.
Mm-hmm. So, and I swatched for another project.
Okay.
Okay, so I also swatched for this dress. And this is the Lagoya dress by Kit Couture. So this was, Bruna had given me this at the Knitting Loft, and I really want to have this done. I want to take it to Rhinebeck. And I think I like hers with the white shirt, but I think that would also look really nice with like a black turtleneck underneath it, and some black leggings and some black blundstones. So I did swatch for that. And this one's a little bit, yikes, I'm dropping everything. This one's a little bit tricky because there's a couple of different yarns in it. So your tension will change a little bit.
Okay.
I'm just going to picture off here. But there's this yarn here, which is a linen silk. So it's a little bit heavier weight than this one that's a merino, and they're all held with a mohair.
Nice, nice.
So here's my swatch in this. So the bottom part is the silk merino held with the mohair, and then the top is the merino held with the mohair. So
what a beautiful fabric. That's really gorgeous.
So for this, whenever I've got the heavier weight yarn, I'm going to have to use a 3.75. And then up here with this, I'll change to a 4. But it'll be easy to do because it's all in stripes.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I'm not too worried about the row tension, because I'm probably going to have to adjust the length anyway.
It's so you'll probably have to shorten up some of your stripes.
I'm going to shorten up some of my stripes. But what I will also do is I will look at the pattern, and it tells you the pattern specific in that it tells you the number of rows for each stripe. So really all I have to do is look at those number of rows, go to the pattern gauge, and that'll tell me how long that should have been.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I can adjust it accordingly. So, okay, that's it. Now I'm joking. Okay. So how about you? Do you have any other?
No, nothing else that I actually cast on, just things that I thought about. And like I said, this was not a very productive knitting week. Although, I mean, I did get a shawl finish. So, and if you look at it from the point of view that there was as much yarn in my shawl as there was in your whole sweater, we're on equal ground there. It seems funny to think that you can get an entire sweater out of that, or you can get just a little shawl for around your neck. But
well, this sweater was 150 grams.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The shawl was 100.
Yeah, because I don't want anybody to think that they could get the shawl yarn and make a sweater out of it.
No, absolutely not. No.
So
no, I think that's everything.
Yeah, but it's not. But I mean, it's not much more.
No, it really isn't. No, but you have a lot of negative space in the whole sweater.
But I had to rip it out 4 times.
Yes, you did. Yeah. So you could have knit a whole second sweater in that time. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we should quickly go through our knit-alongs.
Sure.
So the first one we want to talk about is our Florencia. So again, in the show notes, I will have links so that you can go and you can check out units. Now for units knit-along, you have to knit the Florencia. You need to register, but all that detail is in the Ravelry group. But they are going to have 3 prizes of $100 gift store, $100 gift card for the store, So if you're planning on doing one anyway, theirs ends August 31st. And now we are holding one in conjunction with them. You can knit the Florentia, but we're also opening it up to any other unit Toronto pattern. And ours is going to run until September 30th. So, and we will draw prizes at the end of that. So there's in ours, there is a chatter and a finished object thread.
Mhm.
And if you do the Florencia, that gives you 2 entries in ours. And if you get it done by August 31st, you can put it in ours, 2 entries in ours, and you can also put it into units. So, and it really is a nice knit. And it's, if you've never knit from a chart before, it's a super easy chart.
Mhm.
So, okay. And then our other ones that we have going on, Kelly, do you want to tell them about our sock knit along?
Sure. So this is a hashtag that we have for Instagram for our KNP Sock Along 2023. And this is a really easy one. You knit a pair of socks and you enter it into our Ravelry group, and we draw 2 prizes at the end of each month. And we pick the numbers all the way back to January. So the sooner you get them in the year, the more chances you have to win. And we draw 2 prizes, and one is a pattern prize, which is generously donated by our friend Natalie of Remembrances Pottery. She's beautiful colorwork patterns. And then the second one is always a sock yarn prize.
Mhm.
And we will always announce the winners on the week following the end of that
The end
last
of the
month.
Yep.
Yep. And we will announce the winners in here
Yep.
as well. Okay. And then
Okay.
also,
yes, we also have our Smash That Stash. So, and Smash That Stash running for the whole year. And all you have to do is use 50 grams of your stash yarn. Stash yarn is any yarn that you had in your stash prior to January 1st, 2023.
yes.
And we have quarterly prizes for that. And then at the end of the year, we're going to draw for a grand prize for anybody that participated in all 4 quarters. So,
Okay.
and just a note here before we go, if someone was asking about Florencia, Jan said the Florencia is in lane 14. It is, but the pattern is also available to purchase as an individual pattern now. And I think we had a code for that too. If you go on to Ravelry and you use the code FLOOR.
I'll find it. Yeah, I've got
Okay.
it here.
If you use the code FLOOR, you can purchase the pattern for 50% off. So, and again, I will make sure that that's in the show notes as well. But if you
I think
do
it's in the
already
notes
have
from
lane
last week too.
14,
Yes.
it's in the Lane magazine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. And then the last knit along is our Burra Cal or Marie Wallen Cal. And you can knit any Marie Wallen or Susan Crawford pattern. And there are hats, mitts, gloves, socks, sweaters, cardigans, dresses, and there's also crocheted patterns. And there's finished object thread in Ravelry, and we will draw prizes for that at the end of the year. There are other podcasters participating. The rules might be a little bit different than ours, but the list is there. So check out their podcasts and you might be able to enter something in both. So,
okay.
Yes, Sarah, you can put your weaving and Smash That Stash.
Absolutely, you can. Yes. Sarah brought a blanket to for show and tell under the bridge on Saturday. It was absolutely gorgeous. She's a new weaver and she's knocking it out of the park as per Sarah usual. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to some people are asking about the alternating cable cast on. So I'm just going to put that. I know you can't just into it, but if you want to take a picture of this so that you don't have to wait for the show notes, if you want to take a picture of it, I'll leave it there for a minute and you can go in and check it out. But if you just type in alternating cable cast on, there will be some that come up. So
yes, for sure.
But anyway, okay. So I think that's it.
I think that's it.
We're long.
Hour
I
and
didn't think we were
24.
going to have that much to talk about.
And I was worried about that today, but yeah, well, we did spend the first 20 minutes talking about clothing and your attempted pickup under the bridge. So
yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
As always, it has been lovely spending time with all of you.
It's been wonderful. It's
highlight of our week. Really is.
For sure.
Really is.
So I always tell Ross on Tuesday nights, it's Ross, I don't know what you're having for supper. You're on your own.
I know. I tell Mike that too. I'll even tell him that the night before. I'm like, eat a big lunch today because, there's no dinner tonight. I have to
No.
be in the zone. I don't eat until
Yeah.
after the podcast. And I need to be in the zone for this. Gotta get
I have my wine and my chips after.
Oh my gosh. That's your dinner? I at least have
Well,
a
I might
healthy
have a
little
piece
snack.
of toast. What do you mean? It's healthy. It's red wine.
It's red wine, yes. Okay.
And they're low sodium potato chips.
Does it really matter? Does it really matter?
Yes.
Yeah, Irene says have some twisted tea.
Tea.
Poor
Okay,
Irene. Okay, Irene, it's time for that bus. We got to roll Irene over now. Somebody gave her a twisted tea at the meetup last week. She didn't realize what the word twisted meant. She thought it was just an iced tea. She gets up a little bit later and she's strolling out. She's got her twisted tea in her hand. She says, well, I'm just going to run home now and feed the dog. She was going to drive home. Twisted tea is alcoholic beverages, friends. And poor Irene, she didn't know, but
no.
Thank goodness she caught herself
Thank
before
goodness
she got in the
someone
car.
did tell her.
Yes. And Isabel, yes, that's a lovely way of saying it. She said, thank you for a lovely time spent with you and 500 of our closest knitting friends. And you are indeed our knitting friends. And it was wonderful to read all the comments on where everybody spends time
It was,
knitting.
yeah, it was.
And there were some creative answers in there as well. And a lot of it was the online podcasts or online Zoom groups or meetup groups. And that's sort of heartwarming too, because at least, you do have some people that you feel like you're knitting along with. I know I do the same thing. If I'm down here in the studio and I have a podcast on.
I didn't understand that.
If I'm down here in the studio and I have a podcast on, I feel like, the people are just chatting away and I'm part of that conversation too. And sometimes I answer. I don't know why they don't answer me back, but anyway, it's
That's
wonderful.
like our grandchildren trying to talk to us while we're on here and wanting to know why grandma's not saying hi back.
Yes. So, okay.
Anyway, I know I've had some people comment where they'll watch it after the fact and forget that it's after the fact and they're typing in something.
Yes. Yeah, so, for sure.
Anyways, we've had a wonderful time tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope we see you all again next week. And in the meantime, have a great week and happy knitting.